Test, test, mic test. Hello, good morning, everybody. Gil here from your wholesaling, lease options, marketing, and mastermind session. Welcome. A big good morning to everyone. If you can see the screen clearly, if my webcam is coming out nice and crisp and the audio is working, please go ahead and confirm in the GoToWebinar control panel. We had a couple members still trying to navigate and get accustomed to registering on GoToWebinar. So let me, while we wait for the confirmations and questions to come in, as always, you are a priority on this session. If you have a particular question with regards to marketing or a seller objection, maybe you have a possible deal, okay, or you got stuck, type in your concern, your question, your clarifications, any violent reactions, and we will help get you unstuck and keep you moving forward. So just a couple of things, right? We do use GoToWebinar as our main platform for these morning sessions. So I wanted to do a quick how-to video on how to register for the GoToWebinar session. That way you, your office, and your team can effectively register, save your link, okay, and be able to access the series on an ongoing basis. Now, you are provided with a particular link to register, right? That's going to come to you in the form of an email. Please check your spam folder or your junk folder. Okay, because sometimes it may appear on there when we send you a registration email. Now, what you are looking at right now is my Facebook account. If we are not contacts on Facebook yet, please go ahead and add me by going to FBGil, Foxtrot Bravo GIL.com, and add me as a contact so that we can exchange messages and we'll be able to keep in touch. If you send me a message and we are not contacts on Facebook yet, definitely not ignoring you due to the high volume of messages that I get and send on a daily basis. Facebook now has a pretty strict filter and they place contacts, indirect contacts, or if we're not connected, those messages go to the spam folder, so I completely miss it in its entirety, right? So once again, the registration link, once you're given a registration link like the following, it may be in an email, chances are it will be whenever you register for any program. You go ahead and click on that link and it's going to take you to this registration page. As you can see, we do meet regularly. Here, the 9 a.m. time slot is our time slot. We've dominated this. You know where to find us and keep yourself moving forward. Now, you're going to enter your first name and last name. Okay, definitely appreciate if you enter a last name on there again so we can effectively add you to our contacts. And you're going to enter an email address, okay? So in this case, I'm going to use one of my email accounts. Okay, and normally this would say register, okay, but since the session is currently live, it says join webinar in progress, okay? So let me show you a different webinar rather that isn't live so that this would be an effective how to register because we are not always live when you do register, right? So here is a sample one. This is for our group coaching students where you get to listen in on live leads. Anybody under the Project X or the Robert Sheeman group does have access to this, just to clarify, right? That's a really good question, Maria. That is a common mistake, error, right? Or where most people get hung up. Where they register for the 9 a.m., but they are clicking on the 11 o'clock webinar, right? So if you're supposed to have your class in classroom A and you're waiting in classroom B, apples and oranges, you're in the wrong place at the wrong time. Now, again, could be a little bit confusing or it could be a tech issue, but that I have found that is the most common reason why users do have a hard time. So after I click registration, right, then I click register, and here we go. So it says, thank you for registering, okay. It has the schedule on here, and on the very bottom, okay? There is a how to join the webinar, right? So that's pretty awesome. This is what you are going to save in your calendar. Mark that down. Every 9 a.m., that is the link you will click to join the 9 a.m. session. If you are part of the live leads webinar where you listen in on some live calls, save it in the time slot. That way you can open your calendar, you can open your email, click on that link, and bam, you are live on the session. So big good morning to everybody. This how-to video will be posted onto the site. Other important updates you guys need to know of. All the replays are going to be posted on learntoinvestforfree.com. Now, if we are training and building your Bird Dog network or your network of property scouts, again, this is a marketing channel that I highly recommend for those of you that are looking to bootstrap, that have under $100 a month in a marketing budget, because you can leverage the efforts of other wholesalers, bird dogs, or people that's interested in getting started in real estate in your particular area, right? At our recent open house, we actually had somebody, come to the table and say, hey, I got $7,000. I'm interested in getting started in real estate. Can we work with you guys? Right? So you can quickly go from zero to hero on a marketing budget, simply by networking and inviting people who are interested in real estate. Now, what do you bring to the table? You bring to the table the production and working the leads. They provide the marketing budget. You can split the profits 50-50, or you can do a three-way split. 30% goes to the marketing guy or the capital partner. 30%, a third, not 30%, my numbers are off today. A third will go to the production partner. That's just a fancy way that goes to the person who calls all the sellers back and anybody that responds to your marketing. And then the remaining third goes to the acquisition manager. I always recommend having a local acquisition person living in the territory that you are doing deals. You do hear of us flip houses in other markets and in other territories without seeing the house, without seeing the buyer. We just send out contracts, they fill them out, and we'll move them forward to a close, right? But there are risks involved, and we are vulnerable, okay, to other agents, wholesalers in that area who can meet with them, right? They can argue a better price. Now, if you had somebody locally in that territory, that would allow you to secure and protect that particular lead or deal. You can build a relationship with that homeowner so that they like and trust you or your company. And so when somebody comes along, when competition comes along or other life events come along, they will continue to do business with you. A lot of the motivated sellers that we come across have a lot of problems that they need help with. Life gets in the way, right? So by being there or having somebody physically present to help them with those problems, again, it ensures the transaction. Just last month, we got comboed. We got hit left and right. We had option deposits, $10,000, $17,000 option deposits. It was looking like a fantastic month. But we did not have a relationship with those tenant buyers. We didn't have somebody local to meet with them, to build rapport, to make sure that they are comfortable and they have all their questions answered. So they ended up doing business with somebody else, right? And when we further scrutinized or analyzed those particular leads and deals, where did we go wrong? They actually ended up doing business with other agents in the area who weren't even well known, right? They just found them, online, or they called them off of a random sign. These weren't the big realtors and agents. They were just the little fish in the area. Nothing wrong with that. But again, know what you're getting into. And so for those of you that are looking for joint venture partners, right? And again, a real joint venture partner, not somebody you're going to pay $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 and they're going to pocket that simply because they've decided that's what their time is worth, right? We do have investors in our network that would meet with the sellers, get properties under contracts. If you guys cover the marketing, they will cover handling all the phone calls, processing the leads and deals, and moving them forward to a close, all right? And I say that jokingly because that's happened to me personally. I went to a Donald Trump event. I got trumped. I thought he was actually going to show up and spent over $10,000 on a fancy hard binding course, right? And one call every like month or 2 months. So that's what happened to me early on when I first got started in real estate. And I've learned since. So just giving you a little bit of a background on there. 2 screens up. Sound is good. Perfect. Hey, Gil, I was wondering where to find the letter of intent. Brooke, I actually talked to Tony earlier today, so we're following up to get that over to you. Toya, what printer do you use for your yellow letters? Is it the Epson X? Yes, it is. Yes, that is the model. Check your chat line here in the questions portion of the GoToWebinar control panel. If you're not quite sure where it is, start to get comfortable and tinker around with it a little bit. Toya, that is the printer that I use. Shakina says, for some reason, I have to go through the registration portion for the 11 o'clock. I don't get an email reminder like I get for the 9 a.m. that I can just click on. All right, let's take a look at that series and make sure, oh sorry, let me go ahead and delete that. By the way, if you sent in a request to join the Facebook group and you haven't been approved yet, let us know on this session so that we can go ahead and approve you for the session. Okay, so reminder emails, all right, on the cold calling the leads session, all right? It shows on here that confirmation email is sent. A reminder email is sent 1 hour and 1 day before each session. Follow-up email is also sent after the session. Okay, so the system or GoToWebinar is registered to send out the reminder email, Shakina. What you can do to make your life easier, instead of having to register over and over, register once, and in the confirmation, thank you for registering, there is a how to join webinar. This is the link that you will click so that you can access that webinar moving forward. You don't have to keep registering for the session. Go ahead and test it out right now, Shakina, so that it's a whole lot easier for you. Pete says, question on purchasing lists. In regards to the inheritance list from US Leads List, if it's not available, would you suggest I get absentee owners, or is there any other suggestion? Pete, if you're talking to the guys at US Leads List, it's run by Lance and Terry, drop some names. Let them know that Bill Rafter referred you. Let them know that Gil from his marketing and mastermind group had referred you. And hopefully that gives you some extra juice and horsepower to getting to the top of that list. We do have a number of members and subscribers that are part of our webinars that have been on a waiting list and are now active clients purchasing, getting access to that list. That is a high quality list, and if you can get on it, definitely recommend it. Now, if it's not available, just put yourself on the waiting list for now. You can control that position because another investor in your area would love to get it. So you are in a good position even when you do move up and you don't have the capital for it. You can partner with an investor who can cover the cost of buying the list, but they deal directly with you, and that's a great position to be in, right? Haven't been getting them either. Yeah, just save your registration links, guys. The GoToWebinar system is out of our control. It's out of our hands. Some of you get the email, some of you don't. Also, we do recommend that you save the GoToWebinar email address and add it to your contacts, your preferred settings, so that it doesn't go to the spam or junk mail folder. Okay? So definitely check that one out. And if you can't get the US Leads List, start with absentee owners and high equity properties if you are wholesaling. If you are doing the lease with an option to buy strategy or owner financing, then you can go down to 20, maybe 10% equity. I'm going to order a list here this morning on properties with about a 40% equity. Gil, do you know of any recommended free or inexpensive WordPress investor theme? I think it's called Agent Press for the agents. Gil, go ahead and check that one out. I think it's called Agent Press or the agent theme. I'll have to double check which one we used on our sites. I was able to save the 9 a.m. but not the 11. Re-register, Shakina. Place a different email address on there so that you can get to this registration and confirmation page. Let me touch base here with some of our panelists, see what's going on their end. Bill, what's the latest over there on your side of the operations? How are things going on your deals and some of the students you are working with on a one-on-one basis?
Hey, things are going good, Gil. Listen, a question for the group. You're still gonna run across this from time to time. A question that came up was, you know, if I find a seller that owes more on their property than the property is worth, what do I do? Is there any way to monetize that lead? And the answer is yes, as long as, you know, what they owe is not totally unreasonable in comparison to what the property is worth. So my rule of thumb generally is, just to use easy numbers to track, is if the property is worth, the after repaired value is $100,000, then you wouldn't want to take on a project with a loan more than 120 or 20%. So that's kind of the rule of thumb, is, you know, the loan should not exceed more than 20% of the after repaired value of the property in order for you to take it on. Okay, so now what do you do with it? Well, there's only two answers. Either number one, you do a short sale on it, or number two, you do a long-term lease option and you run an amortization schedule and find out when the property will go ahead and break even in regards to what the property is worth today. So that's my short answer. You know, there's a little bit more to do on it, but anyway, that's the answer to the question. Back to you, Gil.
Now, if you are going to be working with upside down properties, make sure you have a specialist that has done these upside down deals or knows how to structure them. Bill is open to consultations and partnering up on these particular transactions if you do come across it. Now, ideally, you know, this isn't exactly the most ideal situation to structure a deal, especially if you're brand new, right? So definitely work with a specialist or somebody that has experience handling these. Also, I would only pay attention or attempt to work this lead if there's nothing else on the table. If this is the only seller that's willing to talk to me, that's willing to hear me out, then I would pursue it, right? While I am working this lead, though, and gathering the information, or maybe I partner with somebody like Bill or have him take it over, I am looking for a seller with a more ideal scenario or somebody that is truly motivated and we don't have to navigate a minefield and deal with as many different challenges or moving parts in the transaction, right? So do send us a message or email or post it in the Facebook group if you're looking for a consultation or a joint venture partner. Chris McCartney has a suggestion for you, Mr. Gil O. Elegant Estates is a good theme. Now, they do charge $39 for all of their themes. But if you're dealing with an agent-based theme, it does have plugins like advertising properties, and it is catered more to the real estate type of scenario, right? So do check out, let me type that here for everybody. Thank you very much, Chris. Now, what am I using to order? Okay, so if you guys have any other questions or scenarios, go ahead and type it in. I have got the a major item to Major Rock, which is ordering a new list, and so there's a new website, new to me, reisource.com. At the end of the day, guys, all of these different list vendors and companies, most of them end up purchasing from CoreLogic. But we're tinkering around with this particular list vendor. So let me go ahead and enter my username and password here. Give me a second. No need to broadcast that to everybody. My game plan on this one, Jenny, is to lead with letters and then do my second bulk mailing with postcards. Yes, I will give you guys the criteria that I am using. Okay. No, I don't think I'd like to show the area yet. Right, so the ones who asked the question last week about the which list source are we going to be buying from this time around, I'm actually purchasing it from reisource.com. Now, there are 3,136 in our target market, okay? And this is the criteria that I used so that you know what direct mail criteria. Yes, learntoinvestforfree.com has the full replay and the notes to the session as well. So if you're watching it on YouTube, there are no notes in the YouTube channel. It's just the entire video replay for those of you that are looking for the video session. But that is going to be my direct mail list that I am purchasing. Which is the replay of the YouTube training that you did? I'll try to get the link over to you. Yeah, I just have to double check a few things. But it's a pretty easy and straightforward process. Again, that's what I like about working with investor-friendly agents and brokers. I said, hey guys, I'm planning to do some direct mail. I know you're a licensed agent, you got a broker's office, and so let's work out a deal. We'll give you the opportunity to list and sell the house if you can help me figure out this whole territory situation. I've done my research. And I've done my research and I've applied the the zip code and heat maps training. Again, go to learntoinvestforfree.com, and video 2 will give you or will guide you in how to analyze and find the hot zones in your area. Video 3 will help you build a list, and I think I actually purchased a list live on that session as well. That was from ListSource. We are testing out reisource.com, and I think we have a list count of 3,139. So we'll go ahead, remove duplicate property mailing address. What if we do that? What happens? We'll let that one refresh here. Hope I didn't break it. Sometimes you have to wait whenever you add and remove filters. We're just testing this one, Bill. No particular reason. It did come, we did hear some good things. It was recommended by some other investors. So we are testing it out here for ourselves. Steve Clutch says, I put my registration link or the instant access link in my Google Calendar. Shakina, going back to your question, there was not a scheduled session yesterday, so that might be why you did not get a webinar email. Steve had to create that session, and so no emails would have gone out. Yeah, Chris here says, what's the difference between REI Source and ListSource? Looks exactly the same. And it does, and it looks like it's from CoreLogic as well. Correct. They all go back into CoreLogic, I believe. So it looks like we can save $20 if we remove duplicate mailing addresses. You know what? That's okay. We'll go ahead and do that. Continue to check out. Yeah, let's notify me 15 days before deleting my list. Let me type my email address on here. That one refresh. The criteria is here, guys, so let me type that in here for you. Check the questions portion of GoToWebinar if you don't want to wait for the replay. I typed in the direct mail criteria that I just entered and use for purchasing this list. Is Tina on the session? Hey, Tina. We sent out an offer to that homeowner just to give you feedback. Hopefully we can get this rehab deal because the numbers do look good on paper. The seller does not like talking to men. Like, does just not like it at all. He is very hostile. And we have tried at different times of the day. So my tip to best handle this one, the offer was sent. I recommend you call the homeowner to make sure that he received the offer in the email and schedule the appointment so that we can verify and go out to the property. Yes, very excited. So are we. This is a rehab, possible rehab in beautiful San Diego. And so, yes, let's take the least path of resistance on this one. I suggest you take point on talking to the homeowner since he is more susceptible to hearing and talking to you than he is to any of the other guys that have gone to bat and attempted to secure an appointment. He is a very cranky old guy that is very unhappy. Hey, you know, those cranky old guys, they seem like they're a tough nut to crack, but when you do, could be a very, very awesome deal, right? And sometimes they just put out a very thick or strong exterior, but they're all really softies there on the inside. So so Tina now knows his whole life story. Surprise, surprise. Okay. Okay, order summary, selected criteria. Yes, I didn't have to go through the entire walkthrough of it. Video 3 does that. Again, it's very similar. Very similar order process. I was hoping my total would be $0, but that is my, that's like a appended output. I'm not sure what that is. I will click continue. And now it is asking for the payment information. Okay, so method of payment. I will go ahead and start to fill this in. Welcome to our East Coasters who are logging in. You guys know the drill. If you have any questions, feedback, clarifications, enter it into the GoToWebinar control panel while I get this order placed and finalized. Mr. Clutch, do you mind jumping on board and giving us a recap on how the lead calls are going, right? Some sessions are action-packed. Some sessions, you know, you may hit voicemails. It's just kind of how it is. But what's been going on lately on the live leads that you are talking to? You are on self-mute, by the way.
Well, I mean, it's really funny that you bring this up, you know, today, the day after yesterday, because we actually had a really awesome, you know, guest on the session who made a couple phone calls yesterday, so that was fun.
Yeah, actually, I actually made some calls. Hold on one second. Let me go grab my the payment info for this order.
Oh, okay, yeah. Yeah, so the call sessions have been good. I mean, you know, like Gil's been saying, and I keep repeating it, you know, that you need to be talking to 4 to 5 homeowners a day. You know, so it seems in 45 minutes to an hour, we usually talk to an average of 3 homeowners a day, you know, which isn't bad off just an hour. But, you know, what we're finding there is the times and the leads I'm calling need to talk, you know, I need to get on the phone for about 2 hours to get to that goal, right? Welcome back, Gil.
Hello, hello. Yeah, I mean, realistically, some sessions, you know, especially if you're just starting in on like a Monday, Tuesday, everybody's just getting back into business mode, so you might be hitting the voicemails. They could be calling other people back. Either way, you got to put in your time so that you pressure and the law of averages or the numbers start to kick in and work in your favor. Kelvin says, is there a specific video training that explains circumstances escrows are required to be open in the process? I have a lead I'm working on an escrow state. Kelvin, I'll try to unmute you, see if we can get into a dialogue here and explain that particular scenario, and we'll get some of our investors to chime in and give you feedback. We might not be a big issue at all, but paint a clearer picture for us. And Tina, if you don't mind jumping on the session, painting us a picture of this particular seller, motivated seller, on what their situation is. Calvin, go ahead.
Good morning.
Good morning. We hear you loud and clear. So what's your question?
Came across a situation where I have a potential for seller financing on a house. We were looking at getting involved in bringing it under contract, preferably under an option. But the gentleman raised a question about opening escrow, and so I was just trying to get a better clarification on what the process is for opening escrow in different states. North Carolina is not an escrow state, so we're normally working with attorneys. Nevada and California are, and I'm a little less familiar with those.
Got it. I can tell you, we open escrow on 2 deals, possibly a third by the end of the week. We are supposed to close on one by Monday. Now, let me get Bill to chime in on this one before I take a stab at it. Bill, what's your take on that? Any clarifications? Seems pretty straightforward, but you've done business in some of these other territories. Anything to navigate and look out for, or is it just a simple, straightforward process?
Well, first, North Carolina, I live there. You want to get a recommendation from a local RIA or another investor on who to use as a great real estate closing attorney. That'd be the first thing. Number 2, you want to have a signed real estate purchase agreement by all parties. That'll be the first thing that you'll need to provide. And then I typically put a little synopsis or a paragraph or something like that explaining the deal and how it works. And, seller financing, make sure you've spelled out all the terms and conditions, what the amount is, what the interest rate's going to be, if any, what the monthly payments are going to be. If there's any balloon payments, remember you can't have balloon payments with the new Dodd-Frank law if there's any kind of owner-occupant involved. You can't have them if it's going to be an investor property. So just spell out all the terms and conditions, whether there's any substitution of collateral that's going to be involved or whatever the terms and conditions of the note are, and then send it over to the attorney. If they have any questions, they'll give you a call, and then ask them how soon they can close and set up the times with all parties to meet at the attorney's office and get it done. Back to you, Gil.
Awesome. Kelvin, also to add to that, our escrow, they just need a purchase agreement, a signed contract so that they can open escrow on something. And normally I'll just email them or mail it over, and then they'll tell me what else they would need. They do review my docs, and I'll give them the scenario that I'm looking to do. For example, on this one deal we're closing on Monday, we are going to do an assignment fee, but it's in a different county where the homeowner's based, so they needed to review all the documents, and they're actually providing us with whatever paperwork we need in order to close it. So I do give them the scenario that I'm in, and they'll kind of figure out how to move the transaction forward, tell you what to do, what not to do. In my situation, Bill mentioned some tips on if you're going to do an owner financing deals. With the escrow companies that I've dealt with, they only look for a purchase agreement. Hopefully that answered your question. Have you talked to some other escrow companies in the area so that you can get a better idea of how to navigate that process?
No, I haven't yet. Excuse me. This just came up yesterday in a conversation on a high dollar property here. So this is for our Nevada operation, and I was trying to get it straightened out in my head before going back to him and putting something on paper.
Awesome.
So the question was, basically, it's a situation we were looking not necessarily to buy and hold this one, but to buy and bring it under contract and then go ahead and market it to somebody else in terms of a flip, so to speak.
Got it, got it. Well,
So,
let me put you, Mr. Clutch, if you can put Calvin Bell in touch with Mr. Tupper. He is an active investor in the North Carolina area. If you guys are looking to joint venture, have some good local boots on the ground, he may be able to refer you to some investor friendly, creative financing friendly, and knowledgeable title and escrow companies. Steve's going to pull up the number while we're on the session. Cool?
right. I'll take that information for North Carolina, but I also need some information on Nevada as well. So, and the
Nevada.
difference, again, North Carolina, I'm pretty familiar with because that's been home base for a number of years. Nevada, because we're establishing that process, I'm still getting my feet wet here and learning through the process. So, Mike and I are working together on trying to bring Nevada online now
Got
and get all the details worked out.
got it. Nevada. Who do we have? There were some investors we were doing business with out in Nevada. They've moved their operations elsewhere. I think Gil O might have some relationships in the Nevada market, so hopefully he types something in here and can bring that one forward. If anything pops up with regards to that, I'll just send you a text message with the info. Cool.
I appreciate it. And actually, I've got Robin working on research on some legal teams as well. So we'll
Excellent,
be bringing it
excellent.
up quickly.
Well, thanks for hopping on. I'll put you back on mute. If anything pops up, just type it in the control panel.
Thanks, everybody.
Excellent, excellent. Now, if you guys notice, my screen has now changed, and once you order the list, this little screen pops up, right? And I just ordered it, and it's funny because in the confirmation page it says, important note, your credit card statement will reflect a charge under listsource.com as the merchant name. So we know they also pull their data from CoreLogic. It looked just like listsource. I am guessing that they just white labeled the program where they're branding it as reisource.com because they've bought the rights to it or are now able to white label the program. And so we now have our list. New list purchased today, 2,700. We don't want to purge the file. In fact, we will export it so I can download this list and send it to our direct mail vendor. I do like to save my list in a .csv file. It allows my team to edit the information a whole lot easier. Uppercase and lowercase, we'll go through that, not a big deal. And there you go. I now have my target list. Next, I need to order my direct mail. Toya here has a question. Hold on, let me type it in my notes. Investor Kelvin question. Sayaka had a comment on escrow. My attorney said he does not like opening an escrow. What does that mean? I would ask the attorney, Sayaka, what he meant by that. I'm guessing that he doesn't want to open escrow on a deal unless it's something that is 100% going to move forward on because it's going to take up his time. And work right to open escrow, and if you don't do the deal, you back out of escrow. If in the event there is a hey Roy, I saw the all caps good. How's it going? In the event that there is a red flag with regards to the property, for example, we enter into a contract with a homeowner. Things look great. Initial property inspection looks great. We open escrow on the deal to lock it up. Right, protect our position, sellers doing business with us, everybody wants to move forward. During the due diligence period, if and when our inspector goes out there, and if he finds foundation issues, which is a red flag right there, right, then, hey, in good faith, we were moving forward. Seller didn't know, I didn't know, but we now have to take this new piece of information into account because that will adjust the numbers. It affects us, it affects the seller. Now, if it's that big of a problem, a red flag, then we'll need to go back out, right? And so when we pull out of escrow, it is a refundable deposit, and right, it doesn't cost us like an arm and a leg. I have an active investor in Las Vegas. Gil O provided his email address here, Kelvin. Touch base with Gil O. Send privately. Okay, perfect. So we have our list. Let's check the file. We always want to, again, trust but verify. So let's see this list we just purchased for here earlier today. Make sure it works. And oddly enough, I don't have Excel on this computer, but the file is open. There is data in there, so we are good to go. Now we can order it. Toya. What's a good way to handle an objection when a seller will not give an amount that they want? They ask that I provide an amount. I love that objection. I'll take a stab at that one myself. Let me get Bill to chime in. Bill, how do you draw a number out of a seller without you having to give up the number? It's that whole he who gives the number first loses type of game. What are your transition lines to pull that kind of info?
Well, I go into my wallet and I pull out $1 and I tell the seller, I just took $1 out of my wallet and it's sitting in front of me, and will that do? And then they'll laugh, we'll break the ice, and I'll say, it depends on whether it's listed for sale. If you're calling a typical absentee owner whose property is not on the market, they'll try to get you to say the number first. And I just simply say, gosh, I have no idea. I haven't seen the property yet. Why don't you tell me about the property? And then I'll ask about their circumstances and the rents, and then we'll come back to the value later on after I've gotten a lot more information and I've built a lot more rapport. But I never answer that question outside the gate, because, first one that mentions a number loses. Once I've gotten a good idea about the property, the circumstances, if it's occupied or vacant, how much the rent is and things like that, depending on the circumstances and whether or not I'm dealing locally or virtually, I may do a soft pass if I know that area and say, well, based on what you told me, Mr. Seller, based on the condition of the property and the fact it's vacant and things like that, we would probably be in the $20,000 to $30,000 range, subject to our inspection. Would you consider something like that? And do a soft pass, and if they collapse on the floor and the paramedics are called, then you probably are going to need to readjust your number. So that's kind of the way I handle that, depending on whether or not I know the area, whether it's virtual or local, and what kind of rapport I built with the seller after I found out the property information, the seller's information, occupied or rented, or what the circumstances are there, and then I know which direction to go from there. Back to you, Gil.
Nice. Toya, definitely take some notes on what Bill mentioned earlier. Hopefully you got a pen, paper in hand, or you're taking some notes here on the side like I am. A couple of my questions to you are, have you built rapport with the seller? Do you know something about them on a personal level? Do you know what their situation is? Have you related to them? Right? Even something as, hey, I used to live in San Diego myself, or, I'm looking to move too, or, find out what their story is. Right? The more rapport you have with the seller or the lead, the easier it is to draw out information. You want to be their friend. You want to be that listening ear, and that's what you are. That's how we get paid so much. That's how we get, we monetize our position as the middleman, the wholesaler, the investor, the rehabber, because they do talk to us, and we fully understand their situation, or at least what's most important to them. Right? So that's the biggest thing, making sure you have rapport with them. Sometimes, I'll spend a good, a minute or so just on the rapport side. I won't transition to the house. I'll let them transition to the property, or, hey, what's the purpose of this call, right? And so I will let them transition and bring up the situation with the property again. So it's kind of like, oh, you know what? Back to business. And the point of my call, I am looking for a property here fairly quickly. And you know what? It sounds like a great piece of property. If they don't give you a number at first, try 2 more times. Don't ask the question right away, right? If they shut you down or they don't respond the first time around, ask other questions about the property. The pre-screening conversation or the guide conversation that we have for you guys alternates between questions that ask for a number and questions that have nothing to do with numbers, right? So for example, how many bedrooms and baths, right? How long have you lived in the property? Okay, what's the square footage? Right? How many years have you owned the property? Right? So number of questions. And then there's other questions about the property that have nothing to do with the numbers. Any particular features of the property that I can take note of? Fireplace, sauna, pool, anything about the neighborhood that you love the most, right? Because, other questions. Let me see if I can pull that up on here so that we can alternate between those. So if they don't answer your question the first time around, ask other questions, get them to open up and start talking to you, and then you can revert back to that question later on after you've built more trust, built more rapport, or you've gotten the seller to respond more and start spilling the beans and talking to you, opening up to you, right? There are some homeowners, no matter what you do, they know how to play the game. They will not give you a number. For example, like the lead that Tina's working on, they won't let us see the house until we were ready to make an offer, right? So these are the questions, right? Additional features, square footage, property type, repairs, why are you selling, occupancy, tenant occupied, not occupied, what do you think the house is worth? So if you notice, I do hop back and forth between a number question and questions that have nothing to do with numbers to get them to open up and in the habit of giving me numbers so that by the time that I ask for a ballpark figure or range, Mike here has a very good tip. Just give me a ballpark figure on what you want for the property so I know that we're in the same game, right? At the very least, Toy, I want to make sure that, this is a property that you are in fact considering selling since we are looking to move within the next 30 days or take action here fairly quickly, right? Did you have a ballpark figure? Have you thought about it before? And if they don't give you a number, it's like, well, are you sure you guys have thought about selling? It doesn't sound like you've given it some thought or you know what the house is worth, right? Take some pot shots at them, poke them a little bit, right? See if you can get a reaction out of them, right? Toya, hope that answered your question. Let me see if I can get you unmuted. How are the conversations with leads going on your end? Go ahead and chime in. Toya, you there? Some members have mics, some don't. Hopefully you do, so we can get into a dialogue. If you don't, that is okay as well. I'll just put you back on mute here. Last but not the least, what I did want to highlight here for you guys, so we did buy our list, which is fantastic. What are other yellow letter vendors that you can use? Check out Michael Quarles' company, yellowletters.com. And here we go. So sometimes they have promos, sometimes they don't have promos. And for those of you that are looking for, wow, that's a new feature. Michael's upgrading. Is this them? Let me just double check. Yes, it is. It is them. Tom. Okay, perfect. So this is one of the vendors that I'm going to shop around, inquire. They have expanded their lineup of direct mail marketing pieces. If you do get the chance to get on the phone with them, talk about your marketing campaign. These guys actually take the time to find out more about your marketing campaign, what you're looking to do. They can even give you some tips and help you with your campaign, right? So you can maximize your dollars and your budgets. Now, if you're priced out or if you can't do the volume discount, let me know. We do have a local printer that may be able to get the letters out for you, offering a good price point, or at least, you don't have to order 1 million letters to get the volume discount, right? Because there are volume and production discounts. So I will be shopping on this site afterwards and get my letters out. Toya says, Gil, I don't have a mic. Thank you for the info. Awesome. Last but not the least, Mr. Clutch, if you can get back to Mr. Tupper, he was inquiring about some of the YouTube marketing videos. If you are a silver member, meaning we are proactively marketing for you, sending out emails, maybe even some text messages, sending leads your way, We have recently added YouTube marketing, where our marketing team will create a billboard commercial type video for your company that is keyword or optimized for We Buy Houses. If you're looking for rent to own, then let us know what the keyword is so that we can optimize the YouTube video with that particular post, right? But yeah, here it is right here. So 3 videos were uploaded into this account recently, and you actually get 1 optimized video per week. And that the more videos you add, the more authority you gain and can build on YouTube for your We Buy Houses keyword, so that when somebody types We Buy Houses, the desired outcome is that it would be featured in the YouTube results list. All depends on how competitive your local marketplace is. I just typed in We Buy Houses Fayetteville, North Carolina, which is where Mr. Tupper is based. And if you notice, out of 576 results, Mr. Steve Tupper is on number 1, number 3, number 4, number 5, and number 6. His videos, some as recent as 2 days ago, 2 weeks ago. So our marketing team, as promised, is delivering this on a weekly basis, right? And there are Antoine Stanley has been in doing business for 2 years now in the area. I'd be pretty bummed out if I logged on and saw that Steve Tupper just kicked my 2-year video off the charts and 2 days old, and he's now ranking on there, right? So YouTube marketing, yeah, this can be done for free. We did a training on how you can set this up yourself. And on Google itself, right? See, look at this. Antoine Stanley on Google, right, is he's popping up on here, definitely. On YouTube, we do beat him out, though. But I want to highlight, again, Mr. Steve Tupper is right up on here. 9,000 search results, okay, all third party results, not personal results. And he is on there. Fantastic. Awesome, 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 awesome. So yes, that is part of our silver marketing program. What do I need to do for Steve? I'll type it here in the chat line for you. He was inquiring about, hey, did the marketing team enter my videos? And the answer is yes, they did. They really, I mean, instead of sending out an email, I encourage you guys just to check in your own accounts. If we're doing your email marketing, the fastest way to find out the status and see if your marketing was sent on that day and on a particular day is just to log into your Gmail account, check the sent items, right? Saves you a phone call, saves you time on writing out a lengthy email. You get your updates instantly on the spot. The process is designed that way so that everybody can focus on what's most important depending on their line of work. Awesome. Any other inquiries this morning, guys? We had a packed session. We opened the session, of course, with some general open Q&A for anybody. No major items. We had questions on direct mail. We had questions on how to access the webinars. So do watch the replay so you know how to get this how to join webinar instant link. And when you click that link, it'll open the webinar for you. Some of you guys are using your iPhone or your Android phones to watch the webinars while you are at work. Now, make sure you downloaded the most recent version of the application so that it works correctly. And you can determine, okay, am I clicking on the wrong link? Did I register correctly? Or is it a technical issue happening here with my phone? That way you can troubleshoot it and get it resolved, right? We addressed the direct mail criteria. Nothing fancy here, guys. 40% equity, 5 years ownership, 2 bed, 1 bath plus, right? So we're going up to a 2-1 minimum. Mr. Kelvin had some questions. Toya had an objection that we covered. and Sayaka, had that particular feedback from their attorney. I don't think there's any fancy reason to it. I just don't think that they want to open escrow and go through all the documentation and paperwork. And if you back out of the deal and nobody gets paid, that is a valid concern. If you are doing multiple and volume deals, then they'll do this kind of stuff for you, no problem, right? So you might want to leverage the attorney, the title and escrow that your cash buyers are using, because they are more likely to extend the discounted, the preferred rates to you. The discounted and preferred rates to you, and all the additional high value stuff. For example, with the agents and the brokers that I do business with, they scrub my direct mail list, they go through it, they highlight the particular territories. This is extra stuff that they do because of the relationship, because of the volume of business, and the potential for a long-term and ongoing business as well, right? Last but not the least, we wrapped up our session with some sample YouTube marketing videos, checking on the status of one of our members. Is he on page 1 of Google? Yes, he is. And is he dominating YouTube in his area? And he is doing that one as well. So awesome, awesome, awesome. Last round of questions, feedback, clarifications. Go ahead and enter them in right now. We'll wait another minute or so for everybody. Otherwise, if it's business as usual for you guys, fantastic. I will continue here in my business today, get my direct mail pieces ordered, share with the group my response rate, and the number of deals that I'm doing. Once again, if you're looking for an area or territory to send some marketing in, but you are extremely limited on your time, we do have investors who would be happy to take those phone calls and help you do deals alongside of you. Right? Process those leads. That way you're not buying another course or another program out there. You are actually putting money towards marketing and actual lead generation. Yeah, the internet seems to be a little bit sketchy. So my apologies for that, but it looks like everything's good. No other inquiries are popping up. So with that, guys, let me touch base here. Bill, any updates or last minute items? Reminders here for the group before we jump off the session?
No, I think we've covered everything, Gil. Good session, man. Talk to you soon.
Awesome, awesome. Mr. Clutch, any updates for the group coaching students? Pete is interested in the group coaching program. How can he get more information on it? Pete, what is the best number to reach you on? And I'm going to type in the phone number so that you can get more details, find out how soon you can get dialed in. Steve, what are the bonuses and what's included in the group coaching on these live calls? Because they don't just get access to live calls. I think you guys, we've beefed it up where they also get access to leads. Fill me in on some of those.
Yeah, we do have leads included. So I have quite a few different markets available. We got some Craigslist, we got some FSBO, so we have some stuff in your local market where obviously they can just wholesale deals to you. And I also have leads in other virtual markets that we have sales funnels and local boots on the ground so that they can monetize the leads. But if they just want a Craigslist pull from a market that they want, I can get that for them too. So yeah, leads are included. It's a good variety, and we're doing deals off of them. So
awesome, awesome. So good to hear. Somebody here typed in, Gil, are you guys still doing the Spartan Malibu race? Yes, we are. We've got a nice little group put together. Mr. Clutch is going to be there himself. I'm going to be there. We've got Jason, Edgar, my girlfriend might be coming out, and so we got a group that we're putting on together. And the reason why I wanted to pick this up, because I wanted to check the schedule to make sure that our race in Monterey, oh dear, it is 6/7. Okay, so we do have another event update and change. We'll move it out. We'll probably just do June 14 because we will be in Monterey for the race. But if you guys are into obstacle course racing, endurance racings, I am a big fan of these. I just don't go to the gym for the sake of just going to the gym. I like to put it to the test. And so we are participating in the Monterey course. This is, they have 3 courses, the Super, Sprint, Super, and the Beast. So this is their longest course, and check it out. It's good for the soul. I absolutely love it. If you have friends, kids looking for, a group to run with, we'll have a group out there. And yes, we are already registered for it. So if you haven't yet, you can still sign up. If you have, and you're looking for a group to go with, an accountability group, a team that you can run with, we will be there. Is there a 12 webinar today? Yes, there will be a 12 o'clock training today for the internet marketing component of the business. All right, so Pete, I hope you got the information on there. I don't see a reply from you, but hopefully you did get it. All right, guys, so awesome. Thanks for hopping on this session. We will close it out here, and we will see you first thing on our sessions later today or first thing tomorrow. My name is Gil. On behalf of Bill, Mr. Steve Clutch, Henry Serrano, Robert, and all the other content contributors to our 9 a.m. daily training session, thank you for joining us. All replays will go on learntoinvestforfree.com, the YouTube channel, or on the content provider that you have signed up for on this list. If you're not already on our list, there will be information on how you can join and get the latest updates, discounts, and urgent news or strategies that we are currently working on. Have a great day, everybody. Bye-bye.